Hello, welcome to week 11. I hope that you had an opportunity to get your data analysis activity 3 submitted. I will be providing some feedback in the next couple of days on those because you'll need them this week in writing your rough draft. So be sure that you read through the comments that I post so that you can make any necessary changes so that you can just slip that right into your rough draft. So this week you're going to be reading chapter 13 on standardized testing, and a lot of it is very familiar to you, especially with the STAR test that we talk about all the time. But you do need to pay attention to the information about norm referencing and such, because you'll need that on the data literacy assignment that you'll be completing soon. So this week, for week 11, just be sure to watch the videos and also read the supplemental reading if you haven't had a chance to do that yet. There's only a couple of readings, the one from last week and then the one from this week, but it provides good information about how we can use standardized testing in our classrooms to help us with instruction. So it's a very short article and very easy to read, but you will be held accountable for that information. So this week what you'll be working on assignment-wise is your rough draft, and you can read the instructions here. Just be sure that you go back into those couple of articles that you found. Maybe you had a chance to revise your research question or your topic based on feedback or the analysis that you did last week. It's fine if you continue changing it. If you want to completely scrap it and start again this week, that's fine. So you'll be working on this rough draft, and basically you're going to take those first two articles that you found, find a third article, again from the databases. It just needs to be a peer-reviewed article, so I don't just want like information from a website, but it does need to be a peer-reviewed article. And so after you have found that third one, then you're going to start blending those ideas together. So take those three articles and just kind of provide a summary. I don't want a summary of each article, but instead I want the information blended together. So just kind of summarize what the background information is, have an introduction that just kind of describes the topic, talk about what your problem is or what question you really wanted to find, and then describe what you did to gather some information, and then tie that back to the articles and talk about maybe what else might need to be found or what question you're left with or how that adds to what's already been out there. So this isn't a big kind of deal. This research paper is just a brief summary. This is the rough draft. You'll get peer feedback, and I'll provide you with some feedback as well. And then you can make any changes. So just make sure to follow this. It is APA, so if you're familiar with MLA, this is a little bit different. Make sure that your paper is written in a formal tone. Don't start out with a question. Instead, keep it a little more formal. You can use I because you'll be describing what you did, but don't use the word you. You shouldn't be speaking to the reader. And it needs to be about 500 to 700 words, which is like 2.5 pages. It should be in Times New Roman. You do need a title page. Make sure that you use some kind of font. You can use the standard font, which I think now in Word is Calibri. You can use Times New Roman. Make sure that you double space, and you provide citations within the text, and then you also need a references page. So you can go to the online writing lab at Purdue if you want some additional help or suggestions. You don't need an abstract, and you don't have to have the running head part if you aren't able to do that. But just make sure you do have the references correctly. So for the rough draft, you need to have 3 articles from the database related to the class and your topic. And then you have a summary that blends the items together well. So again, not a summary of each article, but blending them together. Your data analysis provides an insightful description of the data, creates a summary and conclusion, so this transfers right over from what you did last week. And then to receive points for APA, you need to attempt to include citations in the paper, and you need to try to do your best to have the correct citations on the references page. And then next week we will be peer editing, and so that's where these other 20 points will come from, and I'll talk more about that next week. So I've also included a sample paper just to kind of help you. Please look at this and reference it. You don't have to do the running head, but you do need a title page. And then this just provides you an example. So this is where the citations are within the text. So anytime that you take information from another source, you need to put the author's last name or last names, if there's multiple authors, and the date, the year of publication. So just like this, immediately after the information. And then also be sure that you're paraphrasing. Don't use direct quotes, but paraphrase. The final draft will go through the plagiarism checker, and I will not accept a paper if it has greater than a 50% match. So you need to be using your own words for this. And so again, just kind of summarize it. You can see I don't have like questions to the reader or anything like that. Just a more formal paper. And then I talked about kind of the problem that I was looking for. And then I explained what I did. I posted this information on Facebook or Twitter, or you asked friends, or whatever you did. This was my summary from what I found from the participants. But again, you may modify that based on any feedback that I get, or if you went more quantitatively or qualitatively. And then I just provided a summary, kind of tying back, just a short conclusion to tie back to what the literature said. And then you can see my references page here. So just kind of follow this formatting. I added in some other types of references, so you can have more than 3 if you want. And so when you get that finished, then you're going to upload it to this Google folder, which is right here. So I have a video that kind of explains what to do. Also some rough draft instructions and peer review instructions as well. But upload all your rough drafts here, and then you'll be able to score them for your peers next week. So if you have questions, post them to the class discussion board. And again, this is just a rough draft. It's just kind of summarizing what you've been learning about and presenting the results from your own assessment. So it's not something to worry about. And I'll give you feedback as you go before you work on the final draft next week. Okay, thank you.